Hello, Jim and Tina Salerno. How are you?
Great for the third time. Great, Terri. You're doing fantastic. Thank you. How are you?
Don't tell our secrets. Wait, I'm going to tell the best secret of all. We already had recorded this, had it in the bank, ready to go, and Jim screwed up the first recording, right?
Yeah.
And we got the call. Who called us? Someone said we had no sound on Jim and Tina. Oh, great. So here we are. Take two.
This is really three. Let's talk about the second time that you screwed up, Terri.
Yes, I did. So this is take three, and it's unclipped, so it's not scripted or anything, right? Did I say?
You said Park Ridge.
Oh, we have to start again. I'm not doing that.
No.
We are. I'm not doing that. What did I say? Park Ridge?
And Chicago.
And Chicago.
They're both in Oak Park, but things are going good.
Oh, whatever. This is never going to happen. I just know it. So I'm not even going to say the city of the salon because I'll screw it up again. James Anthony turned 30 years old a couple weeks ago. Congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you.
What an accomplishment. So give me a current status of what's going on in the salon in whatever city it's in.
Things are really, really going outstanding. I mean, we're having, as of right now, today, year to date, we're having a record year. The challenge is we're doing it with a few less hairdressers than we did it, in 2019 when we had a record year. So everybody's busy nonstop. We're averaging about 130 new clients a month this last 3 months. Yeah. So it's really, really been outstanding, but it's kind of it's a catch-22 because we can't get everybody in. We're turning people down in both the locations. So it's been I'm glad, but I'm also frustrated, about that we can't find help.
Well, let's look at it two different ways. Are capacity restrictions still in place in your city?
No.
No, as of June 11th, everything has been lifted. So full capacity in the Chicago and Cook County area.
We've kept everything social distance, though. We're still very social distance. We kept our dividers up between the shampoo bowls and kept our stations spread apart. So.
And how has that affected capacity?
Well, at this point, it doesn't really affect our capacity because we don't have the stylists to fill those chairs. So we thought rather than giving everything out all at one time, we're in a very sensitive area in the Oak Park area. So we figured since we're dropping the masks and giving people the option to whether they want to wear one or whether they want us to wear one, we thought let's keep it all socially distanced and allow people to just get used to all the new mandates.
So what has the response been from the guests?
It's been pretty great. I think a lot of people are excited that they can finally see our faces and that we can see each other. And, from the beginning, since we came back, we had such an influx of new guests that they don't even know what we look like. And we don't know what they fully look like. So it's been kind of fun. And we kind of coupled it together with celebrating our 30-year anniversary. So we brought back our beverage bar and we're doing a mimosa bar for the whole month of June. So it's almost been a great celebration to getting back to somewhat normalcy and celebrating 30 years. So people are excited.
So how many?
I had an 88-year-old lady came in the other day and I said, the first time here, and she got all mad at me because the first time she was in, she had a mask on and she didn't the second time. So she says, "You don't remember me?" And I says, "Well, usually I would never forget beautiful blue eyes like that." And said, "But now that I see you, now that you're saying this, I definitely remember you." She was a real pistol.
Oh, that's something I'll say at 88. I'll tell you.
I actually had a guest, a guy that I've been doing his hair for a few years now, and he went to shake my hand when we stood up, and I hesitated, and I typically wouldn't hesitate, but I was surprised that he was shaking hands because he's been extremely cautious. And he says, "Oh, you're not shaking hands?" And I said, "No, I'll shake your hand." And we shook hands and he goes, "How about a hug?" I says, "I'm up for a hug." So we hugged, and when we broke away, he actually had tears in his eyes and he looked at me. He said, "I haven't hugged anybody in a year." He says, "That was kind of emotional." It was pretty cool.
Oh, these hairdresser moments. Can I just tell you? So, well, let me move on from that. Hold on. Let me get it together. we went to church on Sunday and people chose not to wear masks at church. And it was really, you felt a welcome, even though you've been with them, but without a mask, it's a whole different kind of feeling, isn't it? Because you can love or connect with someone with your whole face. And
Yeah.
that's been really tough up to this point. All right, how many team members are we looking for right now?
Oh, we could probably use 3 hairstylists and have them. I bet you we could have them all booked solid by the end of the year.
Wow, Jim.
Yeah.
So what are we gonna do? I mean, what's the plan of attack to create and attract talent and scout talent?
So as of right now, there's 2 of our rising stars that we started the training, and we kind of tweaked our training from how it previously was to what it is today. And I'm looking to have hopefully both of them done by November. So get them in right before the holidays, which would be wonderful. And then we have one that we've released her for cutting, not yet for color. So she's helping out as well. And we've been to the Chicago School Career Fair. We've been to the Lombard Paul Mitchell School Career Fair. And we're active. We're using, what's that company?
Canvas?
No, not Zipper.
Canvas.
Yes.
Media.
So utilizing them and just putting the word out there. We have signing bonus happening for our team members and for anybody who comes on. So
Yeah,
we're active.
$1,000 signing bonus for any stylist that we can.
Wow.
Find
Well, there's a couple of things I'm thinking about, and I always wonder, how do we have to reinvent ourselves with this process? I say oftentimes, when I speak at the school, the future professionals in the Paul Mitchell world, and because we own two schools with you, every time I'll say who's close to graduating in the next three months, I usually say it. I'll raise their hands, 10, 15 of them, and I'll say, okay, who have you signed on with? I haven't. And I'll say, what are you waiting for? Why haven't you made that decision yet? Fear.
Yeah.
And all right, and so I've said this in many unclipped messages, but I love this because you've got fear on one side with an owner that has no time to recruit on the other. How do we ever expect those two to collide? Right?
Yeah. So for us, we've noticed that for some reason, when I tend to go into the school, it tends to be intimidating is what the feedback is. Where
Really?
Yeah, I think that, I like to think I'm young and in it, but I have 25-year experience. And so when they hear that number, I think that kind of makes them nervous. So we found that it's much better to send our young talent into the schools. They're closer to their age. They're closer to just finishing a program and going through one and what that looks like, and being on the floor and what that looks like. And the 2 ladies that we sent out are actually graduates of our Lombard School, Katerina and Allie, and they're killing it. They're doing amazing behind the chair. And so they have more connection, more availability to be able to have dialogue that's recent for them and, not so ancient sounding to us or from us to the future professional.
We feel like it's just that they receive it better.
Yeah.
Coming from somebody who's in it rather than telling them how it's going to be when they come in if they follow the systems.
Yeah.
Well, the other part that I'm thinking about is how do we, besides a reverse fair, and I don't know if you're doing this, but I think about the word scout. And when an athlete is scouted, it's someone watching them in action and say, something stood out. And do we start sending letters to them at the school they're going to saying, you stood out today? I don't know. There has to be a way that they know they're scouting versus being scouted for them versus being scouted as a school.
Yeah. And so that's, again, one of the things that we've learned through the process is that they no longer will come to us. They will know, not just us, the salon, but they no longer will go out looking. They want to be recruited, they want to be scouted, and then once they feel comfortable enough, they'll respond back. So what we did is Allie came back. Allie is amazing with technology and IT and social media, so she handles a lot of that for us. So she came back when the girls were walking around at the school. They took notes on who stood out to them, who had great conversation, and just they know what James Anthony looks like. We had the dialogue prior to them going into the schools. And Allie reached out right away via social media. So via Instagram, via TikTok, via, and just reached out and said, hey, you look like somebody we would love to see in our salon. We'd love to have you come hang out with us and have a day and make it all about you. Any questions you have, you shadow us and you just take a look at what the team feels like. And if it feel there's a connection, then we move forward. So you have to instantly reach out, and not just the one time, like you have to stay on it. You have to, it's not gone are the days, like most of them didn't even have resumes, or a few of them had business cards. It's all about what's your handle. I'm gonna connect with you and I'm gonna follow you. You're gonna follow me and see what that looks like. So it's very different. In some ways it's easier and in some ways it's harder. But you got to stay on trend with what's happening. It's not the same. The interviews are not the same. It used to be you bring them in for a shadow, then you bring them in for an interview, and then a second interview. And that's too long. By that time, they left us and went somewhere else. And if they liked what that felt like, then that's it. They made that decision.
So how do you interview for character?
We love our shadow days. So they do a shadow day with us in the salon. And honestly, it's almost an interview right then and there with our whole team. And that's where the character comes out, because believe it or not, there's really no filter. Some of them will show by the questions they ask or by their behavior, and even how quickly they immerse themselves in with the team. And we have legacy stylists that know what we're looking for, and we have newer talent that's also very protective of the business. And you quickly know who somebody is or isn't. And we've been fortunate, I have to say. Our hangout days we've gotten some really great new team members on the rising star end, but that doesn't help on the stylist end. I mean, we've also changed the fact that we are willing to now hire a stylist that's been a stylist for a little bit, do a different kind of training program for that particular circumstance, and then move forward from there. So we have a combination of both going on right now.
Well, and it's amazing to me that you not only have to have a hybrid of talent, you have to have a hybrid in training, you have to have a hybrid. I'm not qualified in some ways. But I know that most of them, this generation, has the attention span of a gnat. And so what you have to do then is keep their minds busy thinking about their futures, and you want to be a place where they could land. And I don't know how many ways you do that. Saturday night. We were sitting there, and I just happened to say to Steve, because we were going to the 10 o'clock service, if I'm not up, wake me up at 8. And my phone alarm went off at 8 o'clock. I didn't do it. Steve didn't. I'm not kidding you. I didn't do it. Steve didn't do it. How did it do that on its own? And then I'm thinking, okay, how do we know, and how do we make those deposits, like with social media, to them, that we hit them once this week, we hit them another time next week, we hit them another time? Who manages all of that to make sure that they're feeling this personalized effort on our part to recruit them? How do you manage that?
It's a team effort. It really is. It really is a team effort. And it's a matter of, I'm kind of the one that writes everything down and then checks in, and then I'm fortunate and blessed enough to, again, have people that I can check in with. And, Mara is our salon coordinator, our salon manager. And I check in with her. And then Ashley is our salon coordinator. And then so Mara checks in with her. And then we connect with Allie and we connect with Kat. So it's a team effort because I can't do it by myself. He is doing everything else on the business side of everything. And so, and I don't want to do that side of it. So
You have a couple in waiting right now
for stylists. Yeah.
that you're close to, you think they're going to say yes and come on board?
No, not from the career fairs that we have. There's still, there's a few that have, hours to finish. So close to graduation, but not quite yet. Like the August, I think September timeframe. But they haven't decided if they're coming on board yet. So right now we're just courting.
They don't want to commit. They have a hard time committing.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing to me. Well, so your timeline is at the expense. I mean, when I need staff, I write it down every day. I keep writing it down. I put it on the top of my need log. Looking for this. I stay on HR. I'm communicating. Because you can lose a month and you don't even know it.
Sure.
Right? You could get lost in the business and lose time.
Sure.
So we walk into salons as a company, servicing salons, and they'll say, I need a couple staff. Like we have two sitting out in the car. We're hoping you'd say that. We'll
deliver them to you by Thursday.
I'll escort them in. But if you don't have in your schedule when you are going to do this, like if I can remember laundry day for my grandmother was always Monday morning. She was always preparing homemade pastas and everything on Saturdays. And she went to the grocery market, I think, on Fridays. There was a routine for her to run her house. And the same holds true with all the responsibilities you have to do running your business. You have to have these. It's Monday. This is what we do on Mondays. How do you two divvy up in your partnership as a couple? And you're not allowed to ask me this question back, but how do you divvy up the responsibilities and such between the two of you?
I think that we just kind of have we know where what our strengths are, and we'll kind of just take that by that. We've never really talked about you do this, you do that. Tina will just do some things, I'll just do other things.
Jim's strength is numbers. He can look at, he's like you. I mean, you guys look at a spreadsheet and I look at it and I'm like, where's the date on the spreadsheet? Like, I don't, and I mean, I'm okay at it. I understand it, but it's not my strength. Jim's strength is definitely the business and the numbers. And so when it comes to coaching our team, that's his thing. The day-to-day, the marketing, the merchandising, the love in the salon, as far as checking in, making sure that the temperature is being read, that's my responsibility. The coaching as far as education, and that's where I come in. Those are my strengths. I love doing it, and I'm good at doing that. I'm organized in that way. So we kind of fell naturally into that, and sometimes one crosses the other, but
there's times where I'll say, you know what, you need to coach this one, because
right.
I can't.
I'm not doing that one.
Yeah.
So when I look at, do you disagree?
At times.
We have our moments.
Yeah, we have our moments.
Sure. And you know what? So many people think you're in a fight in your marriage. You're not in a fight in your marriage.
No.
You're both
fighting for what you believe for. So
exactly.
Like there's moments where I'll look at something and I'll be like, no, this is like, I want you to look at it this way. And I, the blessing is he's my husband. So I know how I can kind of get him to look at things a little bit different. And so
how she can persuade me.
So, you go, oh boy. So that's very helpful in our partnership in business.
Yes, it is very helpful. I understand.
And I know when I have to, I know when it's a no. I know when he's like, it's a no. And I get that, because he's looking again at the number side of it. And so for him, he always says it, numbers tell a story. we've been coached that my whole career. And so, when it's a no, it's a no, and I get it. And it doesn't mean it's a no forever. It just means it's a no for right now. And
The thing that I in our marriage, I can't agree to something if I don't agree. I just can't. So a lot of times I'll say, I got to sign off on this one. I don't agree with it. But if you really feel that strongly and want to move forward, the part of the marriage that I don't do well is if it does go badly, I'm not allowed to say, I told you so, right? I don't do well at that part, but, I think that when you are passionate, and I always look at business from the front of the house and the back of the house. Tina, you are absolutely a gem in the front of the house. Jim is the back of the house. And, when you look at that, sometimes the front and the back don't agree.
Mhm.
And they're both from such a place of passion. That's what's so hard is you're fighting really hard for the service and what we need to do and how we need to do it. And Jim's fighting to protect home plate. And then so many people, it's an art to be able to say, okay, no, not yet. Or what's the return on that going to be? Or what can we expect? And, I walked out of the house today and I said to Steve, that conversation either has to be had by you or me, nobody else who wants to do it. And those kind of things, none of our staff's going to hear us say that, but we know.
Right.
Anyone, the reinvention for 20, 21 and a half and 22, what are you thinking about? What else are you guys working on right now?
Well, just the opportunity that I think we're going to have. And I talked about this a lot last year during COVID, that I really, really thought that there was going to be, I really thought this year would be much more of a rebuilding year than coming back as strong as it just comes, as strong as it's come back. And we're so grateful that took off the way it did. So this year was going to be to get us back to where we were in 2019. And as it's looking right now, we're going to surpass that. And I was looking to 2022 to be the growth year. And if this continues, it's going to be just huge growth. And again, there's a lot of opportunity because we've lost a lot of salons along the way. I think there's been a lot of people that have maybe given up on the industry. Maybe we're in a dead end salon that didn't come back after COVID and said, you know what, I didn't make it before. What makes me think I'm going to do it now? But again, I wish some of those people would look at the opportunities that are out there right now, because
Exactly.
I think there's a lot of them out there. I think there's a lot of opportunity for stylists that maybe had the talent and had the, the personality for this, but never really got into the right salon. And boy, oh boy, that, there's lots and lots of opportunity right now.
That's a great way to say it. And, when you're taking on 120 new customers a month, I mean, where are they going to go? I don't think that trend is going to slow down for you. And at some point,
prior to, we were 100. We've been averaging 100 a month since we've moved to that location for the last 7 years. So now it's just escalated. And
at some point, you've got to be able to have people to accept those. And then at what point is James Anthony fully committed and we're not accepting new customers at this time? That's really hard.
Yeah, it sure is.
That's a balancing act.
No. Yeah, you hate to say no.
Well, I mean, and as of right now, it is the service desk, the core service desk. They get the, the conversations that they have to have, unfortunately, but it's, the stylists are committed through like August, September, and we encourage all of our guests to make sure that they reschedule their next, just their next one, but like the next 2 or 3, which really pulls us into holiday mode, and so, and it's as exciting as it is, it's also like, oh my gosh, what is that going to look like? So, I don't know.
Holiday mode's not going to look any different than it looks right now.
No, it's not going to look any different.
That's what our team is saying. This is like Christmas
every week. Yeah, this is like
week.
Christmas every week. That's the kind of busyness that we have.
It's a great thing, but it's also.
How are they holding up?
They're holding up good. In fact, I don't sleep at night anymore, and I lay in bed and I start thinking about things. And I was thinking just last night about what do we need to do maybe a little different with our team that's there and is really, really, really pushing through all of this right now. I mean, they're really working. They're working hard. So what do we have to do a little differently? You know, and that's kind of was my thought last night while I was laying in bed.
Do you do double shifts, or do you do they take a lunch, or?
Yeah, they take a lunch, and we do just straight shift. Everybody has a particular day off of work. So we're closed on Mondays. And then, you know, some people during the week are off and have their day off that way. And then Sundays, they alternate Sundays between stylists. So, but no double shift. We were doing the double shift for COVID, but we don't have to do that anymore.
Are you glad that's over?
Oh, it was 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
That allowed, the leadership had to be on for 80 hours a week
Yep.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough. What do you think of the guests' response to COVID and after? Are you surprised at how, I don't know, I'm the worst mask wearer in the United States of America. I hate it, and I go into a store and I'm fussing almost immediately, and I'm so glad it's let up. You know, I feel like I can breathe in the world again. But how are the customers?
Right. I mean, the customers now, when we stopped wearing the mask, beginning in Salon Jazz, we started at June 1st and we started June 11th and James Anthony. And we just told them, you know, because everybody's vaccinated, we're all vaccinated. If you're vaccinated and you don't want to wear a mask, and, you know, I would say 98% of the people are ripping the masks off, big smile on their face, and they're happy to get them off. But then you still have the customers that are coming in that are wearing 3 masks, you know, I mean, there's still a few of those out there. So in spite of, and a lot of times, you know, we're vaccinated, they're vaccinated, but they just feel comfortable. They feel more comfortable if they're wearing the mask. So, but for the most part, I think everybody's pretty happy to be shedding the mask and getting back to some normalcy.
But what about the beverage area and such, Tina? Were they glad to see it back?
Oh yeah, everybody was so excited to have coffee back, and again, we're doing mimosas. I mean, just it's crazy. It is the little things, it's the simple things, but I think at this point it helps people just feel somewhat normal, and whatever that normal is for everybody, it's different. And that's the thing that we learned the most, is that everybody has a story. And so as much as it can be frustrating to see that person come into the salon that's double masked, even though we know they're vaccinated and we're like one of the first people to get vaccinated, everybody has a story. And so you kill them with kindness, and you just try to understand it and support them. And I think that's what's most appreciated.
And give them a couple more mimosas.
Yeah, the mimosas have helped.
That really seems to be helping.
Yeah, the mimosas have definitely helped relax people quite a bit. But I think that we have a great reputation in the salon. We've always been, I mean, people know how clean we are, and whenever we launch anything, or if you get an email from our salon, it's not to bombard you. They know that it's a message and that they should read it. And so from the beginning of everything, we were very in touch with how we were handling things, and people just trusted that. They trusted our system, and they knew that they would be in good hands. And so when we made the decision to wait the extra 3 weeks from June, you know, from the June 1st, whenever that Friday was that CDC said that you could not wear a mask, we waited an extra 3 weeks to do it in James Anthony. And people appreciated that, and they knew that once they came in, that they were going to still continue to feel safe and confident to be in there, as well as our team. You know, as much as we kind of giggle about things and laugh about, you know, who's doing what, we have some team members that are also nervous about it. And so you had to respect that and honor that. And so they need to feel safe coming in as well. So I think.
Did you still do your weekly powwows during
Yes.
COVID?
They weren't weekly during COVID, but
Yes.
we did have several meetings,
Zoom
and then
meetings,
Zoom meetings. And then right before we opened, we had, what was his name? We had him with you guys, David. You guys had him on, and then we had him on for.
He's an author.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. That's terrible.
I know who you're talking about. I'm a little brain.
He was very
cramp.
inspirational. And that we did that right before we opened. It was really kind of a nice thing to do right before we opened.
So really, I mean, I really think you meeting on Saturdays, tell the listeners why it's such a powerful part of your organization and culture is that meeting on Saturday mornings.
So for us, Saturdays is the one day that the whole team is in the salon. And so it's our opportunity to be able to really acknowledge each other's support and the help that was received throughout the week and accomplishments, and really celebrate in front of their peers. And so it's very important because they, you know, sometimes we get there and it's Tuesday and all of a sudden it's Saturday and you forget everything in the middle. And so they love it. They love the fact that you get to really acknowledge and say thank you, and they say it to each other, and
a lot of tears.
Every
Saturday, there's always tears.
Yeah.
So tell us the agenda and tell us what time it starts and what you do. And
so the salon on Saturdays opens at 9. We meet at 8 a.m. and we walk in, we gather around, everybody sits in their chair, whatever, around the salon.
Chloe runs around and says hello to everybody.
Chloe, our dog, runs around and says hello to everybody. And we start off with announcements. So usually if there's updates from PSC, education announcements, inventory announcements, what we have in, what we don't, what's back ordered, what's coming in, new and now. So we start with that, and then,
or anything that's not working in the salon as well.
If there's
anything that needs to be addressed,
right,
is always addressed.
Can you give an example? Can you give an example of something that's not working right now? That's come up in the past that you had to resolve or address?
We've had Tuesdays tends to be a busy day, and for some reason it's the one day that I'm not there and Mara is not there. And at times the team tends to take advantage of our service desk or not want to pull their weight. And so we had to address it and remind them that when we're not there in our presence, Ashley and Floriana are our extension of myself, of Mara, of Jim, and to look around and really just have a servant's heart on a Tuesday. Like, I don't know why when we're there, they're doing everything they're supposed to be doing. And all of a sudden on Tuesday, the wheels fall off a little bit. And so, so we had to have that conversation and just remind everybody of what it takes to run a smooth day.
Good example.
And
what else?
And remembering what it was like, you know, when they were brand new, you know, because it's a lot of times a lot of times it tends to be the newer talent coming up. Remember what it was like when you were an assistant and, you know, coaching. You know, we encourage our team to coach down, you know, and you know, and if you got a bitch, you always bitch up, like in the Be Nice or Else book. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, and they do, you know, before they bring it to us, they will have conversations with each other.
Love
it. Working, we encourage them to bring it to us, and then we sit down, and if it has to be with 2 people at once, we all sit down together and, okay, let's work through this. This isn't working. And hear both sides. And it's always a little bit different when you bring everybody together than what you hear from one or the other.
So give me, what else happens at Saturday mornings?
Then we do facings, which facings is finding the celebration, acknowledging it, celebrating it, and then enjoying the victory. So the team goes around, we go around in a circle, and sometimes we popcorn it. Sometimes we start at one end and it goes all the way around, and everybody says whatever their facings are. If we have time, we usually like to do an energizer. I'd like to be a little bit better about having an energizer in the salon.
We go through numbers.
Yeah, we
do their service dollars for the week, the take home dollars for the week, the
rescheduling
numbers for the week.
Excellent. Yeah. But can you imagine not having it? Your Saturday mornings?
Oh, you know, when we didn't do it because of the 2 shifts that we were working on, it really, when we would have our Zoom meeting during the week, they missed it, you know, and it's not easy to get there on a Saturday at 8 a.m. And, you know, I know that it's a challenge. There's a lot of moms.
Do you do breakfast, coffee, or anything on Saturday mornings?
No, we usually just put an order in and everybody orders something. I mean, we have, you know, if they want the coffee from the beverage bar, once in a while, like we'll surprise them and buy them coffee and do that. When we have new hires that start, we do a pancake breakfast. And so we have a welcome committee, we have a birthday committee. And so the welcome committee is in charge of hosting a pancake breakfast for everybody. So we do that. We haven't done that in a little while, again, because of COVID.
Exactly.
So we'll be reintroducing that shortly.
I love that. I mean, so many people, when I talk to an owner, I'll say, it's one thing to connect with your people in front of the customer. It's another to connect with them when it's just you. And that's why when I think about your Saturdays, that's sacred time.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's made a big difference in your culture in a good way. I mean, think how long you've been doing that. Some people might say, like, let's say Jenna could say, we've been doing this how long, right? I've been to Saturday mornings for 8 years, sick of Saturday mornings. However, you don't hear that. It's your time just to be you with each other, because when the doors open, now you've got other people in the
Well, and
arena.
it's fun because sometimes we have guests, like the 9 o'clock appointments come a little earlier and they sit in the front and they listen to it. And that's cool too, because everybody is just in awe of the fact that we do that as a company. But it's, I think it's exactly like what you said. It's not about, you don't create a team and a culture when you're one-on-one. You create it when you're together, and people feed off of energy, and off of each other. And so, listen, there are Saturday mornings where a few faces that sit at powwow and me and I, Jim and I look at each other and we're like, I'm going to kill him. But by the end of it, like they snap out of it, because again, it takes a team. And so, you might come in and not be quite feeling your Saturday, but by the end of powwow, you snap out of it and you do what you got to do to make the day work.
I just think that's amazing. And some people will say, we'll start them and then they miss a Saturday, then they miss another Saturday, and then all of a sudden they're not doing meetings anymore.
Yeah.
Well, whenever we travel,
they always
ask us, is there still going to be a powwow on Saturday? Yes, there is. Mata can handle, Mata can do it, or whoever's working the services can handle, facilitating a powwow.
Yeah.
See, isn't that something?
Yeah.
What else sets you apart?
Well, I think that the way that we, I think just the way we treat our people. I mean, I think that, we really take pride in seeing our kids grow from the ground up. We take pride in watching them, purchase new cars, purchase homes, be able to pay all their bills off, be able to pay their student loans off. I mean, we really take a lot of pride in that. We love the fact that we have a 401k in place. We do contribute to the 401k. We have we don't pay for their insurance, their hospitalization, healthcare, but we have a policy in place, through the salon, which gives them a little bit better break, or gives them a little bit of a break jumping on with the group policy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, we really enjoy and take a lot of pride in the way we treat our people. And I think that I think that they're all pretty grateful too.
I remember years ago when we first met, Jim, and we never could be on the phone 15 minutes, it would go an hour or whatever, and we would go in every direction and in conversations, even our childhood and our parents and everything. And then one time we were talking about the drama levels of a salon. And I said, Jim, with all my heart, I can tell you, the greatest thing about hairdressers is their big heart. The worst thing is their big heart, right? When you're leading a business. And I said, if you're having some breakdowns in there, it's because your people have a little bit too much latitude. And if you manage the system, they'll be able to trust it. If you're trying to manage the people, you're going to be managing a lot of emotion all the time. And I remember a big pause. You go, you've probably said a bad word. And then that's so true. That's so
I mean, I think that your words were, you've got to take the emotion out of your management. And I'm not going to lie, I still struggle with that sometimes. I mean, there's times where, I'll be at the other salon. Yeah, I'll be at the other salon and I'll hear, maybe Mata will call me or Tina will call me and something happened. And man, my first instinct is to run down the block and, grab this person and sit them down and, what's going on here? And so I've got to, that's where again, sometimes Tina will take, I'll say, you need to handle this one because I can't do that right now. Or if I do it, it's going to be a day or two later because I have to calm down. And I get worked up, I still get worked up pretty easily. I kind of like,
Well, I just think, I was coaching someone and it wasn't in business, it was a personal coaching thing. And I wrote to this person, I don't know how to get your attention on this. These opportunities are right in front of you and you're ignoring them. I don't know how to wake you up. This is driving me crazy. I don't know how to wake you up. And I think that's something that leadership is responsible for is you're growing your people, but sometimes they can get into a bad relationship or they can have a crisis that happens and then they just fall asleep right at the wheel, right? Or
nothing else matters. Yeah.
yeah, it's just not important. I don't want to talk about it. Well, get your head back where it needs to be. I understand you have some distractions right now. Do your job, and then let's come back to this. I mean, it's not like I don't have empathy, but
The thing that we have to remember is that they're a different generation. And so we have to keep reminding ourselves that everything that they have and they want is quick and it's at their fingertips. And so when they're confronted with an issue, they want it to, as quickly as it came, they want it to go away that quickly, and they can't focus on anything else until it's done and fixed, right? And so that's where I think our talent, our age and our experience allows us to sit them down and say, listen, let's talk this out. Let's figure out like what, do you really think that you can fix this in this amount of time? And if the answer is no, then let's come up with a game plan. And so I think that's where my strength comes in with that, because Jim is very reactionary, because he just wants to shoot everything down. Like he just wants it shut down. He doesn't want it, the wheels turning in the salon. And so I think that being able to just sit them down and really help them game plan, that's our job too, and it's a parenting job, but it's part of the gig now. It's, we're not just teaching them how to be great hairstylists. We're teaching them how to manage their money. We're teaching them how to buy a new rent a new apartment, how to get a lease on a car. I mean, those are conversations that we're having daily with, team members. And they're not conversations they're having with their parents. So we do have to kind of step back and really understand a little bit where they're coming from. It's not a bad thing. It's not that they don't want to work. They do. They'll perform, but they get in their own head. And once they're in their head, we have to draw them back in. And that's part of our coaching. It's no longer about numbers. It's no longer just about how to do great hair. It's a lifestyle. Like our salon becomes a lifestyle. And
I love that you said that, because that's where I was going next. I think when we look at trying to develop people, I mean, we've been going through some things, just Steve and I being older parents and trying to relate to teenagers right now, it's tough. And one of the things that they encourage is for us to have, now, come on, this hit me between the head, like, come on, Terri, you knew this. Just like James Anthony has a powwow every Saturday morning, they said that your family should have a once a week meeting in the family. So we're going to have ours on Sunday nights, and we go through victories. What do we need help on? What do we have coming up? It's the same thing.
yeah.
Why would we think that we don't have to have a huddle in the house, right? So you have to schedule it. And the main reason they said is because if you don't schedule time for them, they'll fill it with this time on the phone.
yeah.
And therefore you don't have a chance to get time with them unless you schedule it in advance and say, this is sacred time as a family. We're all going to be here for dinner, and then we're going to do this family meeting afterwards. And it made so much sense to me. And then you're supposed to have a big calendar out so everyone can view the calendar. It shouldn't be a surprise that Steve and Terri have to travel Thursday night, because we already discussed it 3 weeks in advance. So it's the same thing. It's all contact and communication. What are you laughing at?
Because she makes the calendar and I still don't know what's going on. I don't look at
I mean, it smacks them in
She's
the
got
face.
a giant
It's
calendar
on
right
the,
on the back door when we leave every day, and I really don't pay attention to the calendar.
But,
like
but
this.
isn't it amazing to me? Why wasn't I running my family the way I know how to organize a meeting? Why wasn't I doing that? Come on. I just said, oh, I mean, I was so grateful for the nudge, but this isn't Einstein stuff. You just have to, if you're committed to relationships like you are to your people, that stuff is sacred time and it's protected. I love that.
that's why I love, my favorite thing that I ever learned at the school. I mean, there was a lot of things I learned, but the values versus behaviors.
Oh,
And that was such an aha moment for me when I wrote down all the things I value, and then my behaviors didn't even
yeah.
match.
I value a healthy body.
Uh-huh.
So 2 sleeves of Oreos
Yeah.
shouldn't be the behaviors, right?
Yeah.
That would hit me too.
Yeah. You talked about opportunities and missed opportunities. And man, I've just been really thinking about that in the last couple of months. I've been thinking about that a lot, the missed opportunities. An Eminem song came on the other day that you get that one shot. And in that moment, what are you going to do with it? I think that's such a great song, and I've heard it. I always liked it, but hearing it again last week or 2 weeks ago, it had a whole different thing to me. And I think about not just the opportunities in the beauty industry right now, but the opportunities out there in so many businesses that people are just missing. It's a shame. It's awful.
Well, when I look at what we are becoming, I love the expression, how do we turn these moments into a movement? And at James Anthony, you turned a huddle into a movement, or a powwow into a movement. And you turned your service culture into a movement. Tina came in and made sanitation turned into a movement, right? Or speed and pace and developing people. I have watched your vision, and to be someone on the outside looking in, I am just so proud and of what you've accomplished. When I was in the old building, wait a minute, did I smell, was it the pizza I would smell or something?
Hot dogs. We had a hot dog.
Yeah, hot dogs. And I came in and I have a hair just irritating me. I remember coming in and being in the back room. The back room was this big, and it went downhill like this, right? And you said, we're going to move. And I thought, let your dreams explode here. And it is so, the two of you, when you walk into that location, it's such a great visual of who you are. I can't even stand it.
Well, thank you. But again, we have to say this too. I mean, that location might not have come as quickly, not that it did come quickly, but it might not have come as soon as it did without the coaching that we received from you and Steve.
Oh, that's so nice of you. I kept saying to you, remember this, I would say, now, can you knock this? I'd go in there, can you walk this down and can you move this?
No, Terri.
There's a brick wall there, Terri. There's a brick wall.
You can't do it. But then when you had tackled the wash house, you're one of the first that created it with such elegance and style. And I walked in and I said, oh my gosh, it's my favorite part, right? And I almost wanted to pick that up and move that to the new location, but you even did it better in the second location. Your customers love it.
Yeah,
they love it. It's kind of killing me right now because we put those, and I think you've seen that, we have the black plexiglass dividers between every station, and it's really kind of cool. But when you walk in, you kind of lose the room, but it creates a really little sanctuary. And I told Tina, I says, you know what, I'm gonna take those things out. And she goes, customers love those. So I'm thinking maybe take half of them out and leave a couple for the people that really feel like they want that.
Why do they love them so much? Because the intimacy of it, Tina?
I think it's,
the intimacy of it. I think they feel safe at this point. But I think for them, they just, when they sit back there with the toner on their head, it's just like their own little space.
you can still hear it when they're moaning because there's no ceiling or anything. on it.
Right. Yeah, I think they just love the privacy of it, and they feel cocooned in, and
It is cool. I
Yeah.
got shampooed by a new girl the other day that squirted me in the face, and I heard her giggling when she was squirting me, and I'm like, really? But it does create a little bit of your own private little thing, which it's kind of cool, but it takes away from the beauty of the whole room,
I can see that. I can see laying down and thinking, I can't see anyone right next to me, It's kind of like the difference maybe between being in first class when you've got those little pods.
right.
Yeah.
I like that kind of, and not that I fly anymore, I don't go anywhere, but it's amazing to me still. I have to tell you both. When you walk into James Anthony, Tom Peters, someone we studied under for years, always said, when you walk into a business that's got it, you feel it, you can hear it, you can taste it, you can smell it. It's just this it. And that's what James Anthony is. It has that it factor about it. And you walk in and it's never, it just has this pop to it. And when you work at James Anthony, you almost have to have this personality to be able to fit there, right?
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think
Even watching, that's what we said when we were with your staff the other night. I said to Steve, something special. You can just feel the vibe and the respect they have for each other, and that's powerful.
for
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you both. I'm honored to be or to have you as our customer, but even more honored to call you my friends.
We feel the
We
same
feel
way,
the same
Terri.
way.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
We
And
say it all the time, and please, let's get something on a calendar and
Oh, don't we?
oh my gosh. Well, thank you for your constant coaching and pushing and your vision, because we look to you and Steve, of course, to take us to the next level. You ask us that, but it's not until we get to sit and be around your energy and your brilliance that our wheels start turning. So sometimes it's as owners, you're in it and you're working and you're working and you're working, and then somebody asks you, like you did, like what's next, what's happening, and you're like, oh my gosh, we're just looking to survive right now. And
Exactly.
but we love that you always push us, and that allows us to continue to think and move forward. So thank you for.
Well, I could go for just a nice meal and laugh and be there for a couple hours and just get lost in talking about what are you going to do next year and how can we help and be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you.